Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final. In respect, it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Bias will be absent today. Mr. Nachtrieb.
Here.
Ms. Radakovich.
Here.
Ms. Rohr will be absent today. Mr. Stiff.
Here.
Chairman Hennessy.
Here.
Okay. I do want to make a note before we move into the full agenda that case 2025-32, which is the variation from non-residential design standards to allow aluminum cladding in the B3 General Business District located at 508 East Cass Street. That petition has been withdrawn by the applicant, so that will, there is not going to be a staff report read or vote on that tonight.
There was 32.
Yes. Case number 32, withdrawn by the applicant. So if anyone's here for that, there will be no review of that today. Okay, moving into the agenda, we have approval of the minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting from...
Gene, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Do you want to announce to the audience that because we only have 4 members, which is a quorum, that if they
Yes.
feel comfortable with that, we could, they could request a table.
I'm sorry.
That they could request
Yes.
a table. If
Thank
they
you
don't.
for bringing that to,
Yeah.
yes. So Chairman Hennessy was noting that we do only have 4 members of the Zoning Board of Appeals here today. And what that means for requests that stop at the Zoning Board of Appeals, meaning variance requests or special use permit requests that don't require council action, that you would need 3 of the 4 votes to have your request approved. If you feel like you would rather not take that chance today, we would, it's your right to request that your agenda item be tabled to the next month. So again, you would need 3 votes of the 4 for a request to be approved for variance requests or for requests of special use permits that don't require council approval. And I apologize, I have somewhat of a cold, so a little nasally today.
Thank you.
All right. Approval of the meeting minutes from July 17th of 2025 for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Move we approve.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Nachtrieb.
Aye.
Ms. Radakovich.
Aye.
Mr. Stiff.
Aye.
Chairman Hennessy.
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This is for anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. Everything on the agenda today is a public hearing, so people who are here to speak on an agenda item, you're welcome to speak now or you can wait for when the agenda item is called, because those are all public hearings. So is there anyone here who would like to speak now on an agenda item? Okay. Next on the agenda is old business public hearing, and we do not have anything listed, so, which brings us to new business public hearing. And the first agenda item is 2025-27 and case number 2025-28. The applicant is Maria Coleman. The status of the applicant is a contract purchaser and business owner. The owner is Chasora Properties LLC, and the location is 1932 Essington Road. The request is a special use permit to allow a daycare center and a variation to allow a daycare center within 40 feet of a residential zoning district. For the purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a daycare center within the B3 General Business Zoning District at 1932 Essington Road. Per the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, daycare centers may be allowed as special uses within commercial zoning districts, provided that the use is located not less than 40 feet from any other lot located in a residential district. There is not less than 75 square feet of outdoor play area for each child, and the outdoor play area is enclosed by a fence at least 3 feet in height. The proposed outdoor play area would be approximately 20 feet from the lot line of a residential zoning district, so the petitioner is also requesting a variation from the 40-foot spacing requirement. The proposal will meet the other outdoor play area requirements. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this special use request. For site-specific information, the subject site is a 38,000 square foot lot on the east side of Essington Road that contains 6,500 square foot commercial building and a surface parking lot. The building was constructed around 1985 and contains 2 tenant spaces. The proposed daycare would be located in the larger tenant space at 1932 Essington Road, which is approximately 5,200 square feet. This tenant space was most recently occupied by Conrad Company Vacuum and Janitorial Superstore and is currently vacant. The other tenant space at 1934 Essington Road is around 1,300 square feet and contains a gift shop, Angel's Trumpet Gifts. The site has approximately 34 surface parking spaces on the west and south sides. The gift shop uses around 6 of the parking spaces on the north side of the site. There is a large open grass area behind the building. The property is zoned B3 General Business District. The property is Lot 4 in the West Wago Unit 2, which was recorded in 1983. The West Wago commercial subdivision also includes the properties to the north and south. There is a 24-foot access easement along the west of the subdivision so that all 3 properties, which have connected parking lots, have access to the 2 existing driveways off Essington Road that serve the subdivision. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located on the east side of Essington Road, north of Thomas Hickey Avenue. The zoning and land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north, we have B3 General Business, and we have commercial uses. To the south, we have B3 General Business with commercial uses. To the east is zoned R4 Multifamily Residential, and it's the Calatrace subdivision. To the west, we have B3 General Business, and it's currently undeveloped, as well as there is an R2 zoned property, which are properties, and it's a Warwick subdivision. For applicable regulations, we have section 4713.1A, special uses in the B3 General Business District, section 47-15 or 5.2A, special uses in the R1 single family zoning district, section 47-5.2C, which is the criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and section 47-19.8, findings of facts supporting a variation. For discussion, the petitioner is requesting approval of a special use permit to allow a daycare center on a commercial property at 1932 Essington Road. Daycare centers are allowed as special uses within commercial districts with approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The petitioner has worked in early childhood education for over 25 years and is currently licensed to run a group home daycare for 14 children. 3 letters of support, 2 from clients and 1 from a partner agency, are included in the staff report packet. The proposed daycare center would serve between 100 and 150 children, depending on the maximum capacity as determined by the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, which administers the daycare facility license. The center would serve children between the ages of 6 weeks and 12 years and also offer before and after care for school-aged children. The conceptual floor plans show that the tenant space would be remodeled to contain around 8 classrooms, a multi-purpose room, a kitchen, bathrooms, offices, and storage. The center would employ around 10 to 15 staff members depending on enrollment and classroom sizes. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the center may offer extended aftercare hours as well. The center would be required to meet all DCFS licensing standards for daycare centers related to personnel, program requirements, health standards, and building requirements. The petitioner plans to use the side entrance on the south side of the building for drop-off and pickup. You can see figure 3 in the staff report and on your screen. Parents would park in the spaces directly adjacent to the south side of the building. Additional parking is available along the south and west property lines and in front of the building. The outdoor play area would be located behind the building on the east side of the property. The fence would extend approximately 70 feet east from the building and approximately 50 feet north to create a play area of around 3,500 square feet. The play area would be accessed from a side door on the north side of the property that would be included within the fenced-in area. The eastern edge of the play area would be approximately 20 feet from the property line of the residential zoning district to the east. The zoning ordinance requires that daycare centers be located at least 40 feet from residential zoning districts. Therefore, this request includes a variation from the 40-foot spacing requirement to allow the play area in the proposed location. Staff finds that the request meets the criteria for variations because a setback of 40 feet would restrict the play area to an impractical shape based on the site's layout. The proposed play area setback of 20 feet creates a sizable buffer between the proposed use and the property line. Staff also finds that the granting of the variation would not alter the essential character of the area, as commercial and residential uses have coexisted in this area for decades. Staff finds that the request meets the special use criteria in that the proposal will not be detrimental to the public health and safety, the special use will not impede the development of the area, and adequate access is provided. The site has adequate parking and can accommodate a play area with direct access from the tenant space. The petitioner has experience as a daycare provider, and the facility will be required to meet all state daycare licensing standards. For conditions of approval, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit to allow a daycare center located at 1932 Essington Road, the following conditions would be included. 1, that an outdoor play area shall be provided that includes not less than 75 square feet per child using the area at any one time. 2, that the outdoor play area shall be enclosed by a fence at least 3 feet in height. 3, that the special use granted shall terminate and lapse unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 180 days from the effective date of this ordinance, and the erection or alteration of a building is started or the use is commenced within such a period. And 4, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here. Step forward, please. I must swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your name and address.
Maria Coleman, 405 South Stonebrook Drive, Romeoville, Illinois.
Any comments you'd like to make?
Just basically my background, I've been doing childcare for 28 years and in my home. And I want to open up a center.
Okay. Any questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone opposed? Yeah, come on forward. Want to step aside, please?
Sure.
Must swear you in?
Sure.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address.
Stephanie Collum.
Lift the mic up.
Stephanie Collum, 17017 Hedgewood Court, Lockport, Illinois. That's where I live. That's not where I work. I don't know if we can bring up the slide that shows the colored where Essington and T-Hickey intersect. Yep. I'm not sure. I'm all for childcare because guess what? I own a childcare facility on T-Hickey and Essington. So I'm not quite sure we really need another daycare facility literally a block from ours. I know she's an in-home provider. I've done this since 1996. I've been a center provider. Our licensing regs are totally different. I'm concerned with her floor plans that she's not going to be able to accommodate the classrooms that she wants to accommodate. I am a voice of reason. If she has questions, I'd be happy to help. I just am concerned that we're going to put another daycare center a block away from one that's already existed for 42 years. The other thing is with the playground, with the mixed use, I'm not quite sure that she's going to be able to split the playground to service infants all the way through 12 years old. That's another licensing regulation that we have to accommodate. What an infant plays with is totally different with what a 12-year-old plays with. There's not a lot of information on how she's going to split these playgrounds, if she's going to be able to split it in one playground, two playgrounds. I'm not quite sure. The other question is with zoning. Since this is not an existing facility, is she now going to have to go under the new life safety codes, which are totally different than the safety codes for an existing facility, which require dual access to get in and out of classrooms? Her floor plan was showing classrooms that were together, not double access to get out. You have to have two means of egress to get out of those classrooms. That's a Life Preservation Act for kids. I think maybe needing to look at this a little bit more before we approve having another facility so close to a facility to begin with, as well as maybe a little more research for licensing regs for a center because they are different than an in-home daycare. And again, I'm not trying to be.
Please address your comments.
Okay, sorry. I'm just concerned that we maybe just need to look at it a little bit more before it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Like to have any comments on that?
Sure. Actually, I'm working with an architect currently, and Joshua from building permitting and the fire marshal.
Would you
to make
speak
sure-
into the mic, please?
Oh, sure. I'm currently working with an architect, Joshua from building permitting and the fire marshal to make sure that everything is in compliance, and my licensing rep, to make sure that everything is in compliance with DCFS standards. I also have attended the classes and know the qualifications of buildings. We are not putting in classrooms. We are using dividers to separate the rooms. So the safety concerns have been addressed with the fire marshal and all of those things. So those are not. Competition is part of the American way. So we can't stop everyone because there's a current business. McDonald's and Burger King coexist, so that's just the response for that.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Oh, golly.
Motion is in order.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the board.
Ms. Radakovich?
Aye.
Mr. Stiff?
Aye.
Mr. Nachtrieb?
Aye.
Chairman Hennessy?
Yes, I'm going to vote aye because most of the items I heard were pure speculation, and I'm sure she's qualified under all the state requirements, and therefore I vote aye.
Okay, good.
Okay. This petition, sorry, my nose, was approved. The applicant will continue to work with the state DCFS for licensing requirements and as well as our own building department for full compliance with life safety measures. So, thank you. Is there a tissue up here somewhere? You have one. I've been talking all day. I don't know, my nose is like, thank you. All right, we're good. Sorry.
Don't get emotional.
I know. Just gonna blow my nose.
She takes this so seriously.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is petition number 2025-29. The applicant and owner is Angela Gutierrez. The location is 421 Abe Street, Council District Number 4. The request, again, this is case number, wait, 29? Must be a typo here, 29. Okay. Is a variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit residence, an R3 1 and 2 family residential use in the R2 single family residential zoning district. For purpose, the applicant is requesting a variation of a use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit residence, an R3 in 1 and 2 family residential use in an R2 single family residential zoning district located at 421 Abe Street. The requested variation of use petition will require City Council approval with a recommendation from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, the main building on the subject property was built in the 1930s and has been used as a 2-unit residence at various times throughout its history. The ground floor dwelling unit has 2 entrances, one on the building's east side and one on the building's south side. The second floor unit has a separate entrance off the building's north side. The subject property is approximately 4,364 square feet in size and contains a 2-story building with a 4-car parking pad to the immediate south. Section 47-6.6 of the city's zoning ordinance requires 2 off-street parking spaces for each dwelling unit for properties within the R2 zoning district. The subject property was downzoned to its current zoning designation of R2 single-family residential zoning in 1997, along with numerous other properties in this area of the city. However, the surrounding area contains a higher density than is found in most R2 zone neighborhoods. Several houses in the area were either built as 2-unit residences or have been converted to 2-unit residences. The surrounding zoning map shows that 6 lots within the same block contain R3, which is again 1 and 2 family residential zoning. 1 block to the west along Henderson Avenue there are 13 lots that contain R3 zoning. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the zoning and land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north is R2 single-family residential and is a single-family residence. To the south is R3 1 and 2 family residential and it's a 2-family residence. To the east is R2 single-family residential and a single-family residence. And then to the west is R2 single-family residential with a single-family residence. For applicable regulations, we have section 47-1728, which is a variation of use. We have section 47-19.8, criteria for granting a variation, and section 47-6, which is the R2 single-family residential zoning district. Under discussion, the petitioner wishes to continue the existing 2-dwelling unit use at the subject property. The property was purchased in 2022 with the understanding that the correct zoning to allow 2 dwelling units was already in place. The first floor unit is currently owner-occupied. The parking pad located south of the main building can adequately accommodate 4 off-street parking spaces per R2 zone requirements. Since the subject property has a history of operating with 2 dwelling units and is situated in a neighborhood with numerous 2-dwelling structures, staff does not believe the requested variation of use will alter the essential character of the neighborhood. For conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve this variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit residence, an R3 1 and 2 family residential use in the R2 single family residential zoning district located at 421 Abe Street, staff recommends the following conditions be included. 1, that the property shall comply with the city's rental inspection program. And 2, should the property be declared a public nuisance by the city council, the variation of use shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the variation of use. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here. You swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Your name and address.
Angela Gutierrez, 421 Abe Street, Joliet.
Any comments?
As previously mentioned, part of the recommendation was that we comply with rental inspections. We have been doing so. Before purchasing the home in May of 2022, we rented previously for about 7 years, and during that time, we had several different inspections with the residential inspection unit. So we were under the assumption that that was already being taken care of, and we were correctly zoned with the correct zoning for the home. The last rental inspection that we had was in February of this year, which it did pass inspection. And we also paid the fee that we needed to pay to have that inspection done. So we were under the assumption that everything, as of now, was up to date. We had the home appraised privately in May of 25 this year. And then once the appraiser wasn't sure what type of zoning was done for this area. So had the appraiser not notified the city of Joliet, I believe that the city of Joliet wasn't aware that this house was being used as a multi-family unit, home, sorry. So I'm really not too sure what's going on or where everything fell through the cracks. Again, the previous homeowner, I believe, purchased a home in 1997, and he had also complied with the residential inspections done by the city of Joliet.
Good? Okay. Any questions?
Just so, would you clarify, please, what you said about the inspections? You have had an inspection on the property, is that correct?
That is correct. The last inspection that was done was February of this year.
By a city inspector?
Correct.
And the building was a 2-unit?
Correct.
And the inspector's conclusion was what?
That it passed.
Okay, thank you.
I find it kind of curious that you said the previous owner bought it in 97. That was the same year as the blanket down zoning, wasn't it?
Yes. I don't know what month I'm to the T,
Yeah,
you know.
That's a strange coincidence. If you don't understand, in 97, the city had a blanket down zoning of all the units all in the city, in the older neighborhoods that were out of style and in conflict with the ordinances. All you had to do is go down and apply for it. A lot of people unfortunately didn't realize that and just didn't do it. Therefore, that's why you're in the situation you are now, where you have to come in because you are out of order. So, just a bit of history on how that happened. But the fact that it was 97, they should have been more aware of the rights that he had. So, any other comments by the board? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anybody opposed? Chair closes petition, asks the board for discussion and a motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the petition. Poll on the board.
Mr. Stiff?
Aye.
Mr. Nachtrieb?
Aye.
Ms. Radakovich?
Aye.
Chairman Hennessy.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you all.
Great. This request for a variation of use will move to the second meeting of this second council meeting in September with the recommendation of approval. Do we have the date of that meeting? Anyway, September 16th. That's when it'll likely be on the agenda. Okay. All right.
No tears?
No tears, not yet, not yet. Okay, next on the agenda is petition number 2025-30. The applicant is Bob Gable with United Architects. The status of the applicant is the architect, and the owner is Trey Durden. The location is 6616 Choleric Drive. The request is a variation to reduce the rear yard setback to allow a covered deck. For purpose, the applicant is requesting the following variation to allow construction of a covered deck on the rear of their existing residence at 6616 Choleric Drive. Variation is to reduce the required rear yard setback from 25 feet to 23.5 feet. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this variation request. For site-specific information, the subject site is 67 feet by 120 feet and contains a two-story residence built around 2012. The property is zoned R1A, single-family residential. The house has an existing rear yard setback of around 31.5 feet. The lot has a 15-foot public utility and drainage easement along the rear property line. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in the Legacy Point residential subdivision and surrounded by residential properties with R1A, single-family residential zoning. For applicable regulations, we have Section 47-5A, which is R1 district yard and lot requirements, Section 47-19.8, findings of fact supporting a variation. For discussion, the owner proposes to construct a second-story deck along the full width of the rear of their house. The deck would be 12 feet deep on the east side and 8 feet deep on the west side, with a proposed roof over the 16-foot by 8-foot west portion. The deck would have a rear yard setback of 23.5 feet and the same 13.8-foot side yard setback as the house. Attached roof structures must meet the same setback requirements as the primary structure, which include a 25-foot rear yard setback. The petitioner needs a variation to build a covered deck with a setback of 23.5 feet. The petitioner requests this variation to allow the roofed portion to have a more comfortable and useful depth. The roof deck would meet the required side yard setback and does not encroach on the easement along the rear property line. The proposal does not exceed the maximum allowed lot coverage of 30% of the total lot area. A plat of survey, site plan, and elevations are included in the staff report packet. An unroofed deck does not need to meet the setbacks for the primary structure, but instead has a required minimum side yard and rear yard setback of 3 feet. The petitioner would be able to build an unroofed deck with the same dimensions without approval of a variation. While staff does not find a physical hardship for this request, staff does not believe that the proposal would have a negative impact on the neighborhood. Staff also finds that the granting of the variation will not alter the essential character of the area. The deck is at the rear of the property and is over 23 feet from the rear property line. A deck without a roof could be constructed in this location by right. For conditions of approval, staff is recommending none. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here.
Yes.
You swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
Name and address.
Bob Gable, United Architects, 1002 Plainfield Road, Joliet.
Trey Durden,
Into
6616.
the mic, please.
Trey Durden, 6616 Caleric Drive, Joliet, Illinois,
Any
60431.
comments, guys?
The only thing is we're asking for the covered deck that due to the house the sun rising on the east, setting on the west, the back of the house is actually 100% covered by sun and heat and unoccupiable through pretty much June to September. So we're asking to do a covered deck for more comfort.
Okay. Any comments by the board? Questions?
Does this deck, it looks like there's access from the second floor, correct? More like a balcony.
Yes.
Is it?
I'm done.
Oh,
Just asking.
any other questions?
Nope.
Is there anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition. Ask the board for discussion and the motion.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve
I second it.
and a second. Pull the board.
Mr. Nachtrieb,
Aye.
Ms. Radakovich,
Nay.
Mr. Stiff,
Aye.
and Chairman Hennessy.
Aye.
Okay, the variation is approved with a vote of 3 to 1. So the next step would be to move forward with a building permit. All right, next on the agenda is petition number 2025-31. The applicant is Maria G. Lopez de Torres, and the status of the applicant is the owner. The location is 2815 Ruth Fitzgerald Drive. The request is a series of variations to allow an attached carport. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting the following variations to allow a carport at 2815 Ruth Fitzgerald Drive. It's a variation to reduce the required side yard setback from 8 feet to 1.9 feet. A variation to reduce the required sum of side yard setbacks from 20 feet to 11.5 feet. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on these variation requests. For site-specific information, the subject property is an 8,400 square foot lot that contains a 2-story single-family residence that was built in 1998. The residence has a pre-existing 2-car garage and a 36.5 square foot shed that is in the property's rear yard. An asphalt driveway leads to both the garage and a detached shed. The applicant has partially built a 39.9 foot by 16 foot attached carport that is 12 feet tall along the north side of the main building. The carport covers the existing driveway that continues northward to the detached shed in the rear yard. The carport currently has a wooden frame in place with concrete support footings along the north wall. The applicant wishes to match the colors and materials of the main building on the carport siding, which would be installed once a building permit for the carport is approved. A permit to construct the carport was applied for on January 17th of 2025. Approval of the permit is contingent upon approval of the requested variations. For surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in the Mayfair neighborhood on the city's far west side and is surrounded by other single-family residences with R2 single-family residential zoning. For applicable regulations, we have section 47-6.4, R2 district yard and lot requirements. We have section 47-17.5, garages and carports, and we have section 47-19.8, findings of fact supporting a variation. Under discussion, approval of the requested variations would allow the owner to complete construction of the 39.9 foot by 16 foot carport. Section 47-17.5 of the city's zoning ordinance requires carports that are within 60 feet of the front property line and not completely to the rear of the dwelling to be constructed as part of the main building. The carport, as currently designed, does not meet the side yard setback requirement of 8 feet for attached roof structures. The carport's north wall is 1.9 feet from the north side yard lot line. Detached garages and carports that are allowed to be located in a property's rear yard must be at least 3 feet from the side yard lot line. This allows for adequate separation from the adjoining lot and for stormwater runoff to fall within the subject property. Staff has concerns about the proposed setback distance of 1.9 feet for these reasons. Staff would be potentially supportive of a 3-foot setback should the applicant be willing to move the north wall back to a 3-foot setback distance from the north property line. The applicant has indicated a potential willingness to redesign the carport to this setback distance if desired by the Zoning Board of Appeals. The R2 zone also requires a sum of side yard setback distance of 20 feet. With the proposed carport addition, this distance would be reduced from 27.5 feet to 11.5 feet. The 638 square foot carport would span the entire north side of the existing main building. The carport addition would still fall within the lot's allowable ground coverage, which is 30%, with 27.8% of the ground covered by buildings or structures. The applicant has stated that the carport is needed for shade and for vehicle storage. The property contains a 2-car garage and a large 30.5 foot by 38.2 foot driveway within the front yard that extends further to the shed in the rear yard. Since most homes in the neighborhood have been built within the last 30 years, there are not many homes in the area with carports. Most homes in the surrounding area accommodate off-street parking with front-loaded garages or detached garages. The city's zoning ordinance allows one detached garage or carport per property. The requested variations do not involve practical difficulties the requested variations do not involve practical difficulties or impose exceptional hardship, as required to grant a variation by section 47-19.8 in the city's zoning ordinance. Staff believes the property will still yield a reasonable return on investment with the existing R2 zoning property line setback requirements. Staff finds no unique circumstances that result in a plight by the owner. While the variations, if granted, would likely not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, the carport, as designed, would result in a large, out-of-scale addition to the existing home that would be markedly different from most homes in the neighborhood. For conditions of approval, there are none requested at this time. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here. Lower the mic. Okay, I have to swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
Yes. Yes, my name is Maria Guadalupe Lopez.
And I need your name and address.
Sandra Torres, address 2905 Bloomfield Drive, Joliet, 60436.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
No.
Not at the moment. No. She does not.
Okay. Any questions by the board?
None for me. None for me.
Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition and asks the board for discussion on a motion.
I move we approve. I second.
We have a motion, a second to approve. Poll the board.
Ms. Radakovich?
No.
Mr. Stiff?
Aye.
Mr. Nachtrieb?
Yes.
Chairman Hennessy?
No.
Great, okay.
Okay, the motion fails, so this request is not approved. Okay, next on the agenda, as previously mentioned, was case number 2025-32. This was for 508 East Cass Street. It was a variation from the non-residential design standards. This case has been withdrawn. That brings us to petition number 2025-33. The applicant in this request is Kiera Washington, and the status of the applicant is tenant. The owner of the property is Lakewood Redevelopment, LLC. The location is 221 Springfield Avenue, Unit 4. The request is a special use permit to allow an early childhood education center and preschool. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow an early childhood education center and preschool located at 221 Springfield Avenue, Unit 4. The proposed use most closely resembles a public or private kindergarten, daycare center, or nursery per section 47-5.2A of the city's zoning ordinance. The subject property contains B1 neighborhood business zoning. Per the ordinance, a daycare center may be allowed in B1 neighborhood business zoning districts provided that the use is not less than 40 feet from any lot in a residential zoning district. And also has to be 75 square feet, or has to have 75 square feet of outdoor play area provided for each child, and that the outdoor play area is enclosed by a fence or wall at least 3 feet in height. The proposed use would meet these requirements. The Zoning Board of Appeals will make the final decision on the special use permit request. For site-specific information, the subject property is approximately 0.6 acres in size and contains a commercial building with 5 units. The proposed use would occupy Unit 4, the second most northern unit. The Zoning Board of Appeals approved a similar special use permit request for a daycare center at the subject location in 2022. Minutes from the 2022 meeting have been included in the staff report packet for reference. The request in 2022 involved both units 4 and 5. The subject request would only apply to Unit 4 in this instance. The previously granted special use permit expired on May 21st of 2023. A variation to reduce the required amount of off-street parking for the daycare center use from 14 spaces to 8 spaces was also approved in 2022. This variation runs with the land and is still applicable to the current proposed use. The site is accessed by 2 separate access points from Springfield Avenue. Existing directional signage along the Springfield Avenue frontage directs visitors to enter the property from the northern access point, which then guides traffic southbound to the eastern parking area before traffic exits at the southern access point onto Springfield Avenue. The eastern parking area, which is located between the commercial building and Springfield Avenue, contains 23 parking spaces. The applicant intends to use 4 parking spaces for daily drop-off and pickup of students. Additional overflow parking within the eastern parking area will likely be available during these times as well. If needed, the applicant is open to implementing a staggered arrival and dismissal schedule to improve ingress and egress from the eastern parking area. Additional parking for building tenants is located west of the commercial building. The applicant's proposed outdoor play area would feature a 5-foot-tall chain-link fence and occupy approximately 1,600 square feet of space that would consume the rear parking area behind Units 4 and 5. The applicant has stated that the current tenant for Unit 5 operates outside of standard business hours and will likely only need to use parking in the eastern parking area. 7 parking spaces will remain in the rear parking area for the building's other commercial tenants. This is the same volume that was proposed when the site was previously considered for a daycare center use in 2022. For surrounding zoning, land use, and character, we have to the north and south, we have B1 zoning with commercial and office uses. To the east is RB, which is St. Joseph Medical Center. And then to the west is I1 and its commercial use. For applicable regulations, we have section 47-11.2A, special uses in neighborhood business districts, section 47-5.2A, special uses for daycare centers. We have section 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and section 47-17.17, off-street parking regulations. Approval of the requested special use permit would allow development of an early childhood education center and preschool at 221 Springfield Avenue, Unit 4. The State of Illinois Department of Children and Family Services requires daycare center operators to meet an extensive number of conditions before a state-issued daycare license can be procured. The applicant will also need to meet the city's requirement for obtaining a general business license. Staff recommends the requested special use permit be conditioned to require that the applicant meet all state code requirements and obtain a state of Illinois daycare license. The applicant's petition states that the school would have a license capacity of 20 children from ages 3 to 5. 1 staff member for every 10 children would be present during operating hours, which would be Monday through Friday between 7:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Staff finds the requested special use will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or general welfare of the surrounding area. Since the subject property is surrounded by commercial and industrial uses, the outdoor play area and anticipated traffic to the facility are not seen to be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity. The applicant has presented a pickup and drop-off plan and is open to implementing staggered arrival and dismissal times to help with traffic flow. The requested special use will conform to the applicable land use regulations of the B1 zoning district. For conditions of approval, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, staff recommends the following conditions be included. 1, that the early childhood education and preschool business shall be registered with the city clerk's office. 2, that the applicant provide proof of any required licensing from the state of Illinois before issuance of a certificate of occupancy. 3, that the petitioner submit a plan for fencing of the outdoor play area with design style and specifications of fencing shown prior to issuance of any necessary building permits. 4, that the operator implements staggered arrival and dismissal times as needed to improve the flow of traffic to and from the subject property. And 5, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner Revere? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address, please.
Kiara Washington. My address is 25312 Governor's Lane in Plainfield, Illinois 60544.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
I would like to address the.
Lift up the mic, please.
I would like to address the fencing area. So back in February, me, my realtor, and the landlord, we came to the village of Joliet and to inquire about the zoning. We were told it was already zoned. I have emails stating that it was already zoned. And so that prompted me to move forward with leasing this space. So I already leased the space because I was told that it was zoned. Fencing has already been submitted. Honestly, we were in the last stage for the city to issue permits to go in and do the build out. So a lot of stuff is already submitted, especially the fencing. The fencing I think was already approved for the play area in the backyard. I mean, not the backyard, I'm sorry, in the back of the business. And yeah, I'm a licensed educator. I'm not just a random person off the street trying to open an educational center. I have 2 licenses, one in early childhood education, one in special educations. I have 2 degrees in early childhood education, one being an associate's and one being a bachelor's, and I have a master's in special education. I'm always continuing my education so that I could best service the families that I'm servicing, and I just pray that you all move forward with it because I'm already so far in it.
My only comment would be that although Joliet's been moved down to the 4th largest city in the state, we are not a village, we are a city. So next time we refer to us.
I'm sorry.
Okay, any comments by the board?
So what happened in 2022 that this didn't go forward? Do we know?
Yeah, so the special use permit for a daycare use was approved in 2022. There was just never a certificate of occupancy issued. It was just never followed through on.
Any other questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition. Ask the board for discussion on a motion.
A motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the petition. Call the board.
Mr. Nachtrieb?
Aye.
Ms. Radakovich?
Aye.
Mr. Stiff?
Aye.
Chairman Hennessy.
Aye.
Okay, the special use permit is approved, and so the applicant will continue to move forward with building permits, submittals, and occupancy.
Welcome to the city.
Okay.
Okay. Next on the agenda is petition number 2025-34. The applicant is Leticia Quintero. The status of the applicant is owner, and the location is 501 Albert Avenue. The request is a variation to reduce the corner side yard setback to allow a rear addition. The applicant is requesting the following variation to allow construction of a rear addition to their existing residence at 501 Albert Avenue, which is a variation to reduce the required corner side yard setback from 20 feet to 11 feet. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this variation request. For site-specific information, the subject site is a corner lot that is 61 feet by 116 feet and contains a one-story residence built around 1890. The house contains around 1,120 square feet of living area. The property is zoned R2 single-family residential and is located at the northeast corner of Albert Avenue and Wilson Avenue. The house has existing non-conforming setbacks. The corner side yard setback is around 11 feet, and the required setback is 20 feet. and the front yard setback to the porch is around 12 feet, with the required setback being 30 feet. Section 47-17.22, nonconforming structures of the zoning ordinance allows pre-existing nonconformities to remain as long as the structures are not enlarged or altered in a way that increases their nonconformity. The owner is proposing to extend the west and rear walls to construct a 17.2 foot by 9.6 foot addition at the northwest corner of the house. The proposed addition will have the same 11-foot corner side yard setback as the existing structure. In September of 2021, the Zoning Board of Appeals approved a series of variations for this address to allow construction of a second-story addition on the existing one-story residence. The variations approved were to reduce the corner side yard setback to 11.5 feet and to reduce the front yard setback to 20.5 feet. The petitioner did not construct a second story from that previous approval. For surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in a residential neighborhood south of Washington Street and surrounded by residential uses with either R2, single-family residential, or R3, one and two-family residential zoning. Albert Avenue is around 350 feet long and terminates at Hickory Creek at its east end. For applicable regulations, we have Section 47-6.4, R2 District Yard and Lot requirements, Section 47-17.3, yards required for corner lots, Section 47-19.8, findings of facts supporting a variation. For discussion, the approval of the requested variation would allow the owner to construct a 17.2 foot by 9.6 foot addition that is set back 11 feet from the corner side yard property line. The required corner side yard setback in the R2 district is 20 feet. The house, which was built around 1890, has an existing corner side yard setback of 11 feet. The addition would extend this non-conforming setback along the west side of the property line, which requires a variation. The addition would allow the expansion of 2 bedrooms at the northwest corner of the house. The gable roof over the west part of the house would be extended over the addition, and the rear wall would be moved north to align with the other existing exterior wall. The siding and roof materials of the addition would match the existing house. A plat of survey, floor plan, and elevations are included in the staff report packet. Staff finds that the request meets the following criteria for variations. There is a physical hardship due to the house's existing location on the lot. The house was built prior to the adoption of the zoning ordinance bulk requirements and has an existing non-conforming corner side yard setback. The petitioner would not be able to build an addition in this location and meet the current required setbacks. The neighborhood contains many older homes built between 1870 and 1920 that have non-conforming setbacks. The proposed addition will not be out of character with the existing residents nor with other properties in the neighborhood. And for suggested conditions, staff does not have any. So that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here? You swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law. Into the mic.
Okay, so yes. Can you hear me?
Did you swear?
I said yes.
Oh, and I need your name and address.
Oh, Letitia Quintero, 501 Albert Avenue, Joliet, Illinois, 60433.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
No, not really, just that I need a larger bedroom where I place my bed and my dresser. We have to kind of like squeeze. It's very, very small rooms since they were built so very long ago, and we just need to extend them out.
Questions by the board? If none, is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition, asks the board for discussion on a motion.
Move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the board.
Ms. Radakovich?
Aye.
Mr. Stiff?
Aye.
Mr. Nachtrieb?
Aye.
Chairman Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is old or new business, not for final action or recommendation? We have none. Next on the agenda then is public comment. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on a non-agenda item? All right, that brings us to adjournment.
Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?